Home ownership is becoming an unaffordable dream for many.
Buying furniture as a flat pack has become the norm. But what about buying a flat pack house?
The couple with corporate backgrounds completed the build in just 6.5 months.
Following our last video, we had a few of you request that we put together a kit home comparison video. So we've done that for you. We've compared the 5 biggest kit home manufacturers, or at least the ones we know of. And I also wanted to say a big thank you to everyone that said kind words in the comments on our last video. It really does motivate us to keep creating these videos, and it means a lot. But anyway, let's get stuck in. We have put this video together today. It's our Australian kit homes comparison. A lot of you asked in the comments for us to share how we compared the different kit home manufacturers before we made our purchasing decision. So we've done that. This video is for you to help you try and make your own decision about which kit home you'd like to go with. And it is a big decision. It's a big purchasing decision. So don't make it lightly. Make sure you spend the time to do a lot of research. We've tried to include as much as we can in this video to make it easier for you. And we've compared 5 different kit home manufacturers. The way we have selected these kit home manufacturers is they are the 5 biggest or most well-known kit home manufacturers we knew of, but also they show their live pricing per kit on their websites, which I think is important from a comparison perspective. We can then break down the prices per square meter and everything like that. But it's not all about price. Obviously, it's about the type of design you like. It's about ongoing support, all those sorts of things. And we've chosen 5 metrics. So we've got 5 metrics we're comparing these companies with. Number 1 is price, and we break that down in the price for a kit as well as the price per internal square meter. So it can kind of be like we're comparing apples with apples. Different kit home manufacturers have wildly different prices, but they also have different inclusions. And the inclusions, if it's like a full inclusive package where you get like your kitchen included, appliances, all those sorts of things, it makes sense to be more expensive for the kit. So we've got the prices, we've got the inclusions, we've included where they ship to, ongoing support, and reputation. So we've included the reviews as well. And we're hoping we can just explain basically how we went about choosing our kit home, these 5 different factors compared amongst each company. And then at the end, we'll share with you why we chose Widespan. Okay, so what we've done is we've picked the cheapest 3-bedroom kit home we could find online from each of these manufacturers, and we've recorded that and then compared them all. So basically, we've got the lowest price 3-bedroom kit home that we could find advertised online, so that you can see the price discrepancies between each kit home provider. I have them all here. First, we're going to talk about Widespan kit home. So Widespan, as you know, is the kit home we went with. Their cheapest 3-bedroom comes in at $49,500. And I've also put a square meter, internal square meter price here, because obviously some 3-bedroom homes are bigger than others. To compare it properly, we need to look at how much square meterage you're getting for what you're paying. So for this one, $471 per square meter. Now we have Imagine Kit Homes. So Imagine Kit Homes are a very big provider, probably the biggest. They have over 700 floor plans you can choose from. Their start 3-bedroom, the cheapest we could see, and this is at the time of the research we conducted, was $56,349 or $854 per internal square meter. You then have Pal Kit Homes. Pal Kit Homes came in at $141,910 or $1,463 a square meter. Prestige Kit Homes was $47,777 or $502 per internal square meter. And finally, iBuild Kit Homes, $99,810 or $941 per square meter. So you can see the prices are pretty different. We went for Widespan because basically we wanted to be able to do a lot of the work and control a lot of the materials ourselves. So we're happy to spend the time to try and find seconds in flooring, for example, that come at a cheaper price. We don't mind doing that. And we think we can get a cheaper build by doing that. Maybe we'll be wrong, and maybe it'll come in at more expensive than if we had have purchased a kit that includes all of these things. But we don't think so. We think we can probably shop around and get cheaper prices. And that's why we chose Widespan. Now, when looking at price, we also have to consider what's included in the purchase of each kit. And that actually differs greatly between each manufacturer. Some of these manufacturers offer what I call basic inclusions, while some offer full or close to full inclusions. I've put together this comparison to show you what's included with each manufacturer, but that's based on the information I could find online. So I do recommend also do your own research, as the inclusions by these manufacturers, they could change at any time. But let's jump in, starting with Widespan Homes. Widespan is what I would call a minimal inclusions manufacturer, and they come in at the cheapest per internal square meter in the price comparison. They provide the structure and the framing, plans and documentation, the roof, the guttering and the fascias, and the exterior cladding. Basically the bare bones of the building structure and the building plans. However, everything else you'll need to complete your build, from internal plasterboard to your kitchen, bathrooms and appliances, will need to be sourced and supplied by you. Imagine Kit Homes is up next, and as you can see, much more of the important components of the home are actually included in the purchase of the kit, such as doors, windows, internal lining, insulation, hardware, and closets and cupboards. However, there are still some items you'll need to source and provide yourself, such as paint, plumbing, electrical fittings, and kitchen and appliances. Now, Pile Kit Homes is what I would call probably the closest to a full inclusions manufacturer, and they came in at the most expensive in our price comparison. They supply everything on our comparison list and even include household appliances when they're marked on the provided building plans. Interestingly, Pile Kit Homes states confidently on their website that they provide a guarantee that anyone can build one of their kit homes. Now we have Prestige Kit Homes. So Prestige Kit Homes came in at the second cheapest. It was only slightly more expensive than Widespan Homes based on that internal per square meter price. However, as you can see in the comparison, quite a few more of the building's materials are included as standard, such as doors, windows, internal lining, insulation, just to name a few. And finally, we have iBuild Kit Homes. iBuild Kit Homes came in at the second most expensive in our price comparison, but in reality, it was only a little bit more expensive per internal square meter than Imagine Kit Homes. Interestingly, iBuild offers a similar amount of inclusions to Prestige Kit Homes. Okay, so how can we think about comparing these different prices and inclusions? At the end of the day, I think it does come down to three things. It comes down to your budget, how set you are on the final look of the home, and finally, how much effort you're willing to put in to sourcing additional materials. So things like flooring seconds, for example, putting the time and effort in to trying to find budget-friendly items that could save you money. If that's the case, if you don't have a certain look you want from the home, if you're willing to invest a lot of time into negotiating with different suppliers to try and get, for example, flooring seconds, cheaper paint, all that sort of thing, then it could really make sense to go with one of the bare bones kit home manufacturers like Widespan. However, if time is a problem for you, if you don't want the headaches of negotiating with many different suppliers, and you have like a final look that you're not really willing to budge on for the home, then I think maybe a full inclusions or close to full inclusions kit home manufacturer might be best for you. At the end of the day, I do think it really comes down to your personal building preference. I would recommend actually contacting quite a few of the different kit home manufacturers and get a feel for who you like, who's nice to talk to, who do you feel will give you good ongoing support. I think that's really important. And I've provided as much research for you as I can, but it's always important when you talk to them, ask what the inclusions are. Ask what the exclusions are as well. What are you going to have to supply yourself? That's super important. And if you negotiate well and build a good relationship with these kit home manufacturers, then who knows, you might be able to get a few inclusions thrown in or even a little bit off the final kit price. Who knows? Okay, so next up we have shipping. So shipping is something to really easily overlook when you're looking at the total price of your kit. And a lot of these manufacturers don't actually include shipping in the price. So what we're going to look at is shipping included in the price with these manufacturers? Where do they ship to? If the price doesn't include shipping, is it openly displayed online on their websites? And finally, is staged shipping an option? So can you have everything for your footings in the frame, for example, shipped before everything else? Okay, so interestingly, Other manufacturers may offer this too, but based on the information I could find on the websites, Prestige Kit Homes and Imagine Kit Homes both seem to offer stage delivery. I couldn't see anything about stage delivery options from PAL or iBuild, and I know that Widespan doesn't offer stage delivery because they're the kit home we're going with. Stage delivery might be important to you if you plan to do a build over a longer period, such as 12 months, or if you have a limited space on site to store materials. If you're in this situation and you're interested in PAL or iBuild, it might be worth making a quick call just to see if they can offer stage delivery for your build. All of these manufacturers deliver throughout Australia, with Imagine Kit Homes also offering international shipping options. And iBuild is the only manufacturer that seems to display shipping rates online without requiring a quote. They offer $750 plus GST for delivery if your location is within 100 kilometers of a capital city. Interestingly, Imagine Kit Homes don't show pricing, but they do state that they don't take a margin when providing a quote on shipping for you. Now, ongoing support was one of the harder things to find accurate information on just by looking online. I would recommend, if you're thinking about purchasing a kit home, call the manufacturer and ask, am I able to pick up the phone and call you at any time if I have a question? What is your instructions and other material like to help me with my build? These questions will certainly help you. I did have a quick look through all the reviews of these companies though, and there were no complaints about how easy it is to actually follow the build process. So I think that's a good sign. And all of them have very good reviews. So I found almost all 5 companies on Google. I couldn't find Widespan Google reviews. Hopefully that's not an issue. But I did find them on Product Review. So Product Review, they still had very good reviews, as you can see here. All of these companies have quite a good reputation. I tend to like to look at a star rating of 4 or more as being a good sign. But I don't think it's a deal breaker if it's below that. I think if you are looking at working with one of these companies and purchasing a kit, just have a quick look at the reviews and just maybe filter by the most negative reviews and see what they're talking about, because sometimes people might be complaining about, for example, a conversation they had with a salesperson, which actually has nothing to do necessarily with the build process you're going to experience. So if there are some negative reviews there, take a look, see what they're about. It's worth doing that extra bit of investigation. But overall, all of these companies look like they have pretty decent reviews. Okay, now we've reached other things to consider when buying a kit home. This, I think, is a really important one. I've tried to list the things that I've learned along the way, so hopefully it's helpful to you. Number one thing I would consider when purchasing a kit home is how will the home fit on your block of land? So you need to look at the council requirements, because every council will have setback requirements. For example, for us on Russell Island, we have to be 6 meters back from the front boundary. So that kind of limited us into what size home we could build. We ended up having to opt for a smaller footprint than we originally planned because of these setback requirements. So have a look at what home you can actually build on the block. It's really worth reaching out to your certifier. Just have a conversation and say, hey, I'm looking at this particular floor plan. This is how many square meters the home is. Can you please let me know if there's anything else I should be aware of? That one conversation might save you a lot of headaches. Another thing that we ran into was if your home requires a septic system, and not every home will, but if it does, there'll have to be a trench put somewhere. And that trench, depending on the soil type and a lot of other variables, may have to be quite large, which will also impact the size of the home and the number of bedrooms too. So the size of the home and the number of bedrooms you can put on that property. So they're the first 2 things I would say just to be aware of. Another big one is the floor system. If you've got a sloped block like we do, then you might need a flooring system that's actually quite high. So we had to opt for a 1500 mil flooring system, 1.5 meters, through Widespan. And that cost us an extra, I think it was $10,000 to $12,000 on top of the kit price. The kit price came in at approximately $40,000, but including that flooring system, we're looking at around $50,000. The reason I say take this into consideration is because if you look at these kit home providers, some of them might charge $10,000, like Widespan for the floor system. Others are closer to $30,000. So take a look will you need a flooring system? If you do need a flooring system, how big of a flooring system do you need? And then how much is that going to cost you extra? Because that may help you decide, is this the right kit home manufacturer to go with if your main decision point is price? So that's another thing to be aware of. Another thing to consider would be, how do you plan on completing your build? Have you put a lot of time aside to do a build basically full time? Are you just going to dedicate your time to doing the build over 3-4 month period? Or will you be doing your build on the side? And if so, do maybe allow double or even triple the amount of time that the building manufacturers, kit home manufacturers stipulate on their website, because some of them say things like, as little as 9 weeks is required potentially from having the frame together for the building. And I just think, like, as a new owner builder, you're better off allowing yourself much more time. So what I like to think of is, if they say 3 months full time, you can have a kit home fully complete. Give yourself 6 to 9 months, like double or triple the time. So many things can go wrong on a build, for example, and a lot of them aren't even your fault. Like for example, you could be waiting on a specific contractor for your plumbing or electrical that can't get there for whatever reason. They could be weeks late, and then that's obviously delaying your whole build by weeks. So if you're going to budget time off work, if you have to make any of those decisions, just expect that things may go wrong that will prolong your build. I think it's better to budget a longer amount of time for the build than to assume best case. So that's the next thing I would consider. And final thing to consider in the kit home would be, how much work do you think you will be putting into the kit home build itself? So I think owner building can probably be extremely worthwhile and economical if you're willing to put in the hard work. So from everyone I've spoken to, who everyone's contributed in the comments that has built a house before owner build, they've all mentioned that they had to work really hard and do a lot of work themselves, but they were able to achieve an affordable home. So I would say, ask yourself the honest question, am I willing to do a lot of the work myself and learn along the way? If you're not really willing to manage the process or get your hands dirty a little bit to try and get the build done, then maybe just reconsider, is owner building worthwhile for me? I think if you were to go and get independent contractors for absolutely everything in the build process, you may end up paying just as much, if not more, than purchasing a pre-established house. So I think owner building is great. I haven't finished my owner build yet, so let's see. But just have a think about that. Like, are you willing to put in the hard work to get that owner build done? And that concludes our kit home comparison video. If you have built any kit from any of those manufacturers, please do let us know in the comments below. I'm sure it could be really helpful to anyone else currently considering which kit to purchase themselves. I want to try and make also the quote comparison checklist and the building and certification steps available to you guys somehow. So let me know if that's something you're interested in, and I'll try and work out a way. Maybe I can put like a link in the description below the video. Don't really know how that works, but I can work it out if that is something that you would like. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching. If you did enjoy the video, please do like it and subscribe to our channel. You can check out our previous video too, covering the start of our very own owner build on Russell Island, which we're super excited about. We're currently in the final stages of planning. Very exciting. We're only waiting on the plumbing approval now. So not long to go, hopefully. We'll be ordering our kit and starting to build on the island, but we'll be able to update you about that very soon. If you are considering doing your own owner build as well, we're going to try and share with you along the way everything we learn. So hopefully we can save you some mistakes that we've already made ourselves, and I'm sure we'll continue to make. But thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.